Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning in to the day's energy, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. All readings are under the umbrella of the highest and greatest good. All right. The overall energy of today's reading is the Seven of Wands, standing your ground, healthy boundaries. You know, there's another aspect to the Seven of Wands. In the original image, the person feels like they're not ready for something. They have two different shoes on and they needed to rush to protect their position. Feels like you're ready for something. You might feel rushed to this position. You might be wondering, there might be a perfect picture. Like, I need to be perfectly healed before. I need to see everything clearly, have everything completely dialed in before I take this action, before I stand my ground. Interesting. There's something here. It feels like you might be perceiving something from a negative vantage point. It feels like seeing someone from a negative vantage point, seeing someone from a negative perspective is allowing you to let go. No longer sacrificing. This feels like an end of a relationship. What type of relationship is this? It feels like there's a lack of loyalty here, a lack of care. Feels like this has been going on for some time. Feels like there's something that you've been hiding from yourself in regards to a relationship. It feels like because of the perspective that you have, it doesn't feel like you can perceive the other person's perspective. Like you're so very guarded with Seven of Wands. So guarded and so protected that you, maybe chronically, that there's something you might be missing. Someone's trying to get to you, trying to communicate. This feels like someone is trying to get you to care about this connection, care. And it feels like you might be so defensive and unable to have a honest but negative reflection of yourself. It might be so painful to perceive how this person, who at some point, and it feels like there's still care there, but you can't perceive the reality, their perspective of you, of hurt that you have caused someone, because the defenses are so high. feels like you might be only perceiving their reaction to this hurt, no matter how long ago this happened. If it's unresolved, it's unresolved. If you have never taken accountability for the harm, consciously or unconsciously, then it creates a you're not a safe person. Jeez, you're not a safe person to this person if you can't accept the harm that was created in between you, between the relationship. You might have caused this harm in this relationship. This feels like someone, this doesn't feel like a lover. This isn't that type of connection that I'm tuned into. It feels like family or friends. That type of energy, someone you really do care about deep down, but you can't understand why there's some type of animosity, some tension that you can't understand. It feels like this might have happened, the injury to this relationship might have happened when you were trying to get out of a comfort zone, trying to get out of a nightmare for yourself. You might have been acting from defensiveness. I'm not saying that how you behaved was acceptable or like okay. I'm just giving context to this so we can see all sides of this. And it looks like it might have, this injury to this relationship might have happened during a breakup, during some type of event where you were not really yourself. But we're still responsible for the behaviors and our actions, even when we are in an expanded state. It feels like you were healing from a mother wound in a toxic relationship. I'm also getting, if you were in a toxic relationship, codependent, narcissistic type of relationship, that in your confusion you might have taken on some narcissistic qualities. If you spent time in a narcissistic relationship as a codependent, or somehow attached with someone who is incredibly narcissistic, then your peanut butter is going to get in their chocolate. You're going to take on some of their attributes. And it feels like as you were disentangling from this toxicity, that there were some bystanders that might have gotten hurt while you were trying to save yourself. Something like that. What does the viewer need to know? Anything about this? Thank you. It feels like you've been trying to avoid this within yourself. It's this harm that you had unintentionally created within a relationship that's very important to you. It feels like you couldn't perceive that at the time. It feels like you were saving yourself. You were in this defensive modality, not to excuse your behavior, but to understand you might have inadvertently caused great harm, trying to detach from and get out of a toxic cycle. You might have had more qualities that you couldn't have about yourself. There's some type of shame or guilt that it feels like you're carrying around within you, but unwilling to see about yourself. And it feels like it's time, if you're ready, to perceive this about yourself. Really uncomfortable ways in which you have given yourself permission when you were in a not good space in your past to behave in a way to save yourself. For some of you, there's an emotional maturity that you're achieving. And instead of ignoring and not understanding why people are having a reaction, a response to you, that you're like, I don't understand this. I feel like they've been trying to tell you, they've been trying to get you to understand. There's a potential here to learn a different way, to recognize the harm that you have created within others. I'm seeing karmically, if you have had great harm as well, people not caring about how they treat you, or whatever's been really loud in your space is a reflection trying to get you to perceive something about yourself that you might be missing. When you can create enough space to own up to harm that you've created, where you have purposefully or unintentionally created harm in someone else's space, how can we have that about ourselves? How can we create space for forgiveness? All right, what's hidden is the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. What's hidden is that while you were saving yourself from it feels like a breakup, toxic breakup, where you were saving yourself, it feels like you might have switched into a survival mode and did not care for others, couldn't care, couldn't perceive the harm that you were creating as you were trying to rescue yourself. And so what happens is you, looking back at that energy, there's a need to cultivate what you want going forward. And it feels like you might have abandoned relationships, friends, family, people who depended on you, and stopped cultivating relationships to rescue yourself. I'm seeing this very neutrally, not as justification, but just an understanding. And so it feels like there's at least someone that I'm tuned into, and it feels like this relationship is important. This is not a lover. It's someone that you really do care about, and you don't understand why there's been a rift. It looks like from your perspective, you needed space. You needed to get away. You were finding yourself, finding your alignment. But in finding yourself, it looks like you might have lost a relationship. You might have caused a great grievance with someone. So their perspective of you finding yourself is very different, of you taking care of yourself. They experienced a great deal of loss. It feels like at the time when you were taking care of yourself and might have created a lack of care in a relationship, it feels like it might have also coincided with this person needing you the most, and so it felt like a double betrayal. While you were taking care of yourself and abandoning the relationship, they were really needing you the most. So I'm perceiving all sides of this. I'm perceiving without like being bad, but understanding carelessness. Understanding that two truths, two realities can be true. You could have been, in your haste to leave a toxic environment and save yourself, you might have abandoned really close relationships. Their perspective is valid, as is yours. There isn't, I'm not seeing like right or wrong. Like the point of this activity in this reading isn't to create more blame or shame, but to recognize when we have harmed others and how to perceive that about ourselves, how to own that without justifying, without minimizing, without deflecting, without ignoring. How can we face and hold in our space the harm we've caused others, and have that about ourselves, see that about ourselves, so we can change it? If you do not perceive this, if you can't have uncomfortable truths about yourself, then you can't change it. You don't own it, you don't take accountability, and so you're not trustworthy. And people can tell that you're unwilling to see things, and so you become someone untrustworthy, capable of harm without any repair. It isn't about being perfect and not making a mistake. It's about owning and repairing, if there's even still open to that. All right, the advice and outcome is the Nine of Swords. This is stuck, very stuck in your head energy, stuck in fears. It's a comfort zone. This might be a defense mechanism that you have. Your ego as a way to protect you from yourself or from the truth. Defending, justifying, minimizing, telling your story over and over again so there's no other point of view that can come in. So even if people try to address this with you, you're like, no, I can't have that about myself. I feel attacked because the way I'm perceiving things is the only reality. And so it makes it really difficult to connect with you, to have a real relationship with you as an authentic human being that makes mistakes, that can own up to them. Yeah, there's something here about an unwillingness to have any uncomfortable truths about yourself. I never did, they did. The stronger, what might be an indicator, the stronger, the more sure you are that your reflection is wrong and it's you. You're the one that needs to open up and see something. This feels like there might be, if you are unwilling, this might be this feels like a point of no return for some of you, where it feels like someone who really loves and cares about you, this family, a child, a parent, someone related to you, close friend, that type of relationship, like a real, true relationship here. It, for some of you, you might be, they might be going no contact if you're refusing to own your humanity and mistakes, because there's no relationship to create going forward. If you can't accept and own the harm that you've created in someone you care about, then they don't feel cared for. It's simple. So some of you, it feels like there's someone, it feels like they're either going no contact, they're tired of this. You refuse to see the harm that you've caused and you lack the care. They're not feeling that you care, and you might be so defensive that you don't care. You have been, protecting yourself. It feels like if you make a change, if you start owning and accepting your part, being willing to see your shadow, then can this be saved? It feels like it's go time. It feels like someone is at a choice point and they have waited for you. Yeah, they have not felt that this is a loving relationship. This might be a child for a lot of you. This person has probably been giving you a lot of attitude, a lot of negativity, a lot of picking at you because they don't know how to communicate. They've tried every way to get you to care, but if you don't care, so you might be perceiving this as just pressure and tension from this person. From their point of view, I get it. There is love here. It feels like they've been wanting you to make the shift. Ooh, I can feel this call. They want you to be able to love yourself enough to perceive this about yourself so you can care about how they feel, so you can own what you've done, accept how their feeling is valid, and see if there's room for repair. Can you build back this trust? Can you create a new beginning that's very different, it feels like, where you let your guard down, where you're vulnerable? Boy, it feels like Yeah, it feels like there's a fork in the road here with a relationship. And again, this isn't, this is someone you really care about. So, wow. Whew. Hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day.